Hello, my beautiful plant people. How are we today? For those of you that have never met me before, I am Sam from Plant Collector Melbourne. And today we are doing another repot video, or what I like to say as planty chores, because it looks like you guys are really enjoying the repot video, the one that I did a couple of weeks back. I'm just doing some repotting on Anthurium. So today we're going to do some more repotting. They are going to be Anthurium, but I may also do some propagation. Stay tuned. But this time around, I think I'm going to talk to you guys more about soil composition and talk through with you things that go through my head when I'm doing some repotting, the decision making that I do, and all of that jazz. So if you guys need to do any repotting, feel free to grab anything that you need. Let's repot together, or let's just hang out and chat while I do some of my own chores. So you know the drill. I love my Anthurium. There's a couple in the store that either need it, are struggling, or are in a really dense mix. So we're gonna play a little bit. So I'll show you what plants we are repotting today. So this guy is a beautiful one. And so this is a Anthurium papillilaminum crossed with a Dressleri. And it's a green Dressleri. So this guy, as you can see, we've got some yellowing of leaves. This, I have a feeling, is just like the change in conditions, because this guy is normally from a way better climate where it's a lot more humid, a lot more warm compared to here in Melbourne. And so it's a change in climate. It's also that the mix is pretty dense for what we have in Melbourne. So I'm going to be changing this into my regular mix. Yes, so that is that guy. So he's from my personal collection. This guy, I haven't decided whether I want to keep him, sell him in the store. Look how cute that little button sinus is. I'm a big fan of it. And it's kind of got like, one, it's really dark. Two, it's got these like pink margins, neon veins. They're quite, what's the word? Muted, so it's not like a crystal one. This guy didn't come with a tag when I did my unboxing, unfortunately, but regardless, it's super beautiful. So like, hopefully you can see maybe like a color contrast, a color difference in that. Tell me what you guys think this is, because I am fascinated by this guy purely because of the little button nose. Yeah, let's see if we get a good shot. There we go. Oh my goodness, it is so pronounced. So we're gonna do that, and you can see here, like, it is very dense. I think that there's like a lot of cocoa coir in that one. I also have this guy who is struggling, which is a double planted pap cross. And I think this guy is just too dense as well. So he's going a bit yellow. It looks like this could be either like a fungal, bacterial thing, but I have a feeling it's just like, it's just been overwatered. We're gonna change the soil for that guy. I did a cutting, a top tip cutting of this Jose Abuono. So I just wanted it to callus over, and I might actually put this in like a prop tub that I have. But I just wanted to show you that I do have some propagations. Cut this one yesterday. I let it callus for, I think now, almost 12 hours, but I wouldn't recommend that you have to keep it for that long for the cut to callus over when you're doing cuttings. Because it is a philo, I'm not too scared of it like drying out and callusing over for a long period of time. Like, I'm happy to leave this for like another day, and I think it would be fine. But if it was, say, something a bit more precious or sensitive, like an Anthurium, I would definitely not be doing that. But yes, let's take a look at this guy. You can see here we've got an aerial root. It's a tip cutting as well, so I have very much faith that this will grow quickly and probably without any trouble. We've got two leaves, and even though the root is very small, in comparison to like the leaf and root ratio. So I've explained this in my videos in the past, where it's just, if you've got a big root system, then the leaves can be sustained. But if you have only like a small root system, then it can only really hold 1 to 2 leaves. For me, because this is a tip cutting and it's pretty active and it's a philo, so I'm not too scared about this guy. He will be just fine. And then I want to show you guys, do I want to do that in today's video? Yeah, why not? Let's get him, hold on. Ugh. So hopefully you guys can sort of see, sort of. Anyway, I have this really tall philo. Hold on, if I show you guys, if I just move it up a little bit. Yep. So I have this tall Philodendron Florida Ghost, which I've had for years. I reckon I've had it for probably like, has it been 3, 4, 5 years? Somewhere in between, but I've had it for a very long time. And it used to be bushy, it used to be huge, and then it started to get root rot. Well, that's what I think is happening anyway. So it was double planted, and I'm pretty sure one of them has completely like rotted away and bye-bye. But this main stem is doing okay. I can see here like there's yellowing. I definitely, oh, there's mealybugs. Oh, you poo. Okay, well, that makes sense. Anyway, I'm gonna check the roots on it. I probably am just gonna chop it up and start all over again, because this guy, I find like when it matures, it's harder to get the beautiful white ghosty look for Florida Ghost. So cutting it up will probably, no, I definitely know when you kind of go backwards with a Philodendron Florida Ghost, they come out a lot more white after you cut it. So it can be straight away, or it can be like maybe the first leaf will be green and then the second leaf will be gorgeous and white. But it could also be light. I know that for Florida Ghost, one of the biggest things is light. So he's normally situated at the very front of the store. So really great light, but he's struggling. So I think I'm just gonna chop him up. I might even do a update so that you guys know exactly what's happened to this beautiful Florida Ghost. I know that it has definitely seen better days. I'm gonna send Leanne a video of when it was in my greenhouse and how lush and beautiful it was. But yeah, it's definitely seen better days. So it looks like it's got some, but not really. It doesn't really have mealybugs. I have a feeling that it's mostly just rotted. But anyway, so you can be in the background. Sadness. But this is what happens. This is the plant journey that we go on, that we embark on. So definitely one of my purposes on YouTube and doing videos is that I want to show you all that there is so much more to growing than just perfect plants. There is definitely the tribulations and fighting pests and dying plants. And even if you have growers that you think are the most amazing or incredible, that they too have plants that die and struggle. Sorry to bust that bubble, but everyone goes through waves, which is actually a really cool conversation to have with you guys, is that now that I am getting more space at the store, so we're actually building a grow tent for some growing in the store. So there's gonna be a lot more space for that. It's going to be huge. And because me and Jacob are moving into our new house, which should be actually next week. Whew, so exciting. We have inspections this week, and then the week after we actually get the keys, and then me planning the greenhouse is going to be so, so exciting. And because of all this like space, I think that I'm getting back into collecting again, which I feel like I haven't done in like the longest amount of time. I bought a Anthurium peltadurum recently, and that was the first plant I've actually bought in a long time. So sometimes like plants come in from PCM and from my growers and stuff, and I might keep 1 or 2 from the box that they give me. But in terms of like actively purchasing and actively collecting or actively swapping, I haven't done it in a very long time. So I think my spark for plants is coming back again. Not just plants, but particularly the collecting aspect. So it's very exciting. And I think another thing that I would love to make normal is that we all go through these like peaks and troughs of plants and collecting. Life gets busy, life gets hectic, things kind of get in the way of plants at some stages. And there's so much to life than just plants. So I get it, and it is totally normal for you to be in a pit in your plant collecting or your plant passion. I definitely know that I go through these waves massively, and it's probably because I am with plants 24/7, but I guess like lately it's been way more of a joy because previously it was more feeling like work, and some things were a bit too hard basket, and then again, there's just like these little things that spark joy, or little things that spark that part of me that's like, we need that in our collection. So I hope you can relate, and I hope you know that it is totally okay to be in love with plants and also not be in love with plants, depending where you are at in life. So with that being said, where do I even start? Let's start repotting. Let's show you guys, let's do this one first. I didn't bring a bucket to get rid of the soil that I don't want to keep. So 2 seconds while I get that. Okay, the bin is here. So off you go. And so the reason why I'm repotting this guy specifically is because the soil is too dense, but also we've got lots of aerial roots just coming like at the base there. So that is a clear sign to me that if we can get the soil to be up to here, that these aerial roots will actually grow. We have more roots, which means that it will be a healthier plant and it will get bigger faster. So let's remove this. And it looks like the roots are good. We have a little bit of dried out roots, so I'm just gonna remove those because they are prone to rot. And then I'm going to, am I gonna keep this? Well, theoretically, if I am putting the plant stem heaps lower into the plant, then I won't actually need this, but we shall see. Let's grab one of you. And so, with my Anthurium, I haven't changed anything. So we're just using orchiata bark, perlite, and some charcoal. One thing that I normally tell people when you're thinking about getting bark or orchiata bark for plants, one thing that you have to consider is the size of the plant or how old the plant is. So for example, if a plant is like a seedling or it's really quite young, then the bark itself needs to be a lot more finer. It has to be a lot more smaller. Just think of the roots. The roots are a lot more fine when they're younger, and then they eventually get thicker, bigger, a lot of mass. So with younger plants, you want to go for a finer thing, particularly because they also, in general, younger plants require more water because the size of the pots actually dry out faster, and depending on the species of the plant and the genus, is that a lot of them require more water because they're growing at such a fast-paced rate. Is there any analogy that I can think of? Yeah, I guess like in nature with, you could even say with humans, is like when you have a baby, they need a lot more, I guess, tender love and care, whether that is with food or like their conditions, environment, cuddles, things like that. But they grow at an exponential rate compared to like when you're an adult. And you don't see the drastic exponential growth. And so the needs are easier to sustain for like older plants. They actually grow slower, in my opinion, when they're older. And so, yeah, in the same kind of wavelength is that younger plants require more care, more water. Yeah, so that is why you may find that the plants are like soaking up all of that water in that small pot. And yeah, smaller pots just take less time to dry out compared to like big, dense, heavy pots. So let me grab this guy. I hope that makes sense. So we are going to grab this guy and we're going to be putting him a lot lower. And again. Another tip that I love to do that my friends have taught me is that by actually putting like either scoria or perlite at the base of the pot, it kind of acts as like a trick so that you don't experience rot in case like a pot or plant is sitting in water. So I'm just going to put a layer of perlite at the bottom and then our layer of soil, and we put all the roots in there, pushing it down. Oh. And do some tapping as per usual to let everything kind of settle in place. And so this guy doesn't technically need a stake or a bamboo thing, just because it is totally fine the way that it is. If this guy felt like it was unstable, I may have decided to use this, but I think he is fine. So there you go. Hopefully you can see the little layer of perlite at the bottom, and then I can definitely see its beautiful roots. So that's looking good. To reiterate, so this guy will be sitting in like a tray, and when I do water, I tend to water heavy, so that would sit in water. And yeah, just that perlite is there to act as almost like a just in case kind of thing. And I don't know if you guys have experienced this either, but I tend to find that a lot of the water ends up pooling at the bottom of the pot. I think it's just like, yeah, the way that it is, depending on how many holes that you have, but it feels like a lot of the water normally gets condensed at the bottom. So by putting that perlite there, it actually acts as like a little buffer, if you will, if the plant sits in water for too long, and it doesn't like absorb it and it just stays stagnant, which is the #1 way to get root rot. So that layer is perfect to try and reduce the chance of rot. Okay, moving along. Let's do this guy. Oh, that's exciting. He's got a new leaf coming. Oh, do I want to do it while he's got a new leaf coming? Yeah, so typically if a plant has a new leaf on its way, I don't really repot it until it's like hardened off. But this guy seems like he's struggling because it's like overwatered and whatnot. So I'm just gonna do it. Yeah, we're gonna do it. So, goodbye soil. Ooh, this guy has such little roots. See? But they're healthy, but they're just a bit little. And do we have anything like rot of some sort? A little bit. So we're just gonna remove that. I'm gonna remove this cocoa chippy thing. Oop. Okay, beautiful. And so I've just put perlite at the base of the pot again. And actually I should have mentioned that it has to be chunky perlite, just because if it's that really finer stuff, it ends up just like falling through the holes anyway. So it has to be the jumbo kind. Tappy, 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 tappy. And then I will smush a little bit. Add a bit more. Ta-da! And another one has been repotted. Fantastic. Okay, and last but certainly not least is this guy. It's actually double planted, this pap cross. He's definitely seen better days, that's for sure. Oh, it's root bound. Love that. Wow, look at those noodles. Wow. Outrageous. I mean, it makes sense because there's 2 of them there. And we just do a little bit of a tappy tappy. Actually, I'll show you what I actually do in the store. Is that I'll just grab the bin and start like banging it. And then so much of the soil ends up coming off. And if I'm feeling a bit dainty about it, I can just tap it like this and see how so much of the soil just like falls off. This normally helps or works really well if the soil's dry. I have to untangle this. I'm gonna give up. No, I can't give up. I can't give up. I can't give up. Untangling roots has got to be the worst. Or no, actually no, that's a lie. Untangling sphagnum has to be the worst. That's why I don't use it anymore. So when I'm untangling, I do this little wiggle thing that I do in circles, like so. Oh. What's your favorite thing that you guys do for plants? And then also, what is your least favorite thing that you guys do? Because my least favorite thing has got to be, for the store, posting plants, and in general of plant care, undoing sphagnum moss. We're almost there, 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 we're almost there. I always get to this point near the end where I'm so close to finishing, but then I'm like, just stuff it. Like, if roots go, roots go. But I have to be patient. Be patient, Sam, be patient. Here we go. Yes, success. There we go. Okay, so we've got that and this guy. Fantastic. Okay, so this guy needs a big, actually I think I may have to do this. There we go. Okay. Oh no, I'm running out of soil. Shaky, shaky, tappy, tappy. Do, 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 do. This guy is done. And this guy, actually, can he even fit in there? I don't think he can. Oh well. Okay. We are done for the repotting aspect. Do I want to cut up this thing? Let's just see, shall we? Let's look at the roots and make a call. Oh, the roots look fine. Or are they dried out? Are they rotted? Oh, nope, we definitely have some rot. Yep, that checks out. Yep, that checks out. So I'm just going to start all over again. Gonna remove this guy. So I'm gonna remove all the yellow leaves that are doing nothing. So I have a feeling that it is a combination of rot as well as mealybugs. So that's fun. And I'm just going to grab some scissors, some sharp scissors, and we can start propagating. Alrighty, my friends. So all I'm going to do here is just cut below the nodes. And a tip that I got from a grower up in Cairns is that when I used to do propagations, I used to leave a lot of the internode connected to the cutting. So you've got a node here, you've got your internode, which is just like a bit of the stem, and then it'll hit another node. So the internode is just the in-between of the two nodes. So I used to keep a lot of it just because if it started to rot, I thought to myself, okay, well, I can just keep cutting it off the rot until it's fine. But a grower has taught me that if you cut closer to the node, the plant actually releases some sort of hormone that calluses it over, that it has less chance of rot. So it's a bit counterintuitive, right? Where it's like when you cut really close, it means that you don't have a lot to work with if it actually rots. But supposedly, if you cut it closer, it actually calluses and releases hormones so that it is less likely to rot. And I'm going to keep this leaf here because it is a tip cutting and it should be able to sustain it. But every other one, so I'm just going to cut this internode off because that does nothing, keeping it really close to the node itself, and that is just going to go in a bag of perlite. And I'm going to use some CCS and some root zone to keep it happy, but also the same grower has taught me that keeping this leaf is like the sacrificial leaf that ends up dying anyway, and to conserve its energy, I'm actually cutting off all the leaves as well. So I'm just literally left with the wet stick, and these will go into either like a prop, what would you call that? A prop tub. In my case, some of them will probably go in the tub and some of them will just kind of stay in that little baggie. Oh, it's such a beautiful plant. But yep, goodbye leaf. We're starting all over again. And a suggestion by Colin is that I will be doing an update on these little cuttings. So hopefully you guys will get to see what happens to these in the next couple of months, but I do expect it to take a while. So I am binning all of the internodes because they don't do anything. The leaves are being sacrificed for the better good. And I even find that when you are, what do you call it? When you're starting from scratch and you cut off the leaf, it grows nicer than if like you have this one big leaf and then the next couple of leaves are really small. I just don't think it looks like proportionally correct. But what do you guys do? Do you guys keep the leaf or do you not? Let me know. We are having lots of nodes in here. And in my head, I don't even know how many of these are actually going to live. But it will be fascinating to find out. And I'm actually just going to even cut off the roots too. Starting from the beginning. Because this root is like completely dry and dead. That's not going to help it anyway. So there you go. Wow. This thing is getting massacred. Sorry, plant. And I might just leave a little bit of the stalk left. But yeah. So I'm just going to keep all of these nodes in a bag like this. I'll probably put more perlite, and I'll put CCS and root zone in there. And I might actually pop this one in water and see how that goes. I feel like phyllos are just so much easier to propagate than, let's say, anthurium. But yeah, I might even put this guy in some water as well. I find that sometimes water, depending on the species and the genus, is actually a lot faster than like perlite or sphagnum or vermiculite and whatnot. But again, depends on the plant and the species. But and I think, my friends, that's about it. So the last step is to water all the plants. In here, I've got, I can't remember if it's CCS or foliage focus. Typically, I would like to use growth technology CCS because it just helps with the stress. But if it's foliage focus, it's foliage focus. So let us water the plants. And that is it, my friends. But yes, they're all done. Yay! And I feel like I do some repotting at least once a week at PCM, or these little planty chores. It never ever stops, but it is so much fun, and it is an absolute joy, especially when I don't have lots going on, that it's just like a slow period of mindfulness of being with the plants. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope you feel the same if you managed to get some planty chores done yourself. And yeah, hopefully that you heard about some fun tips and tricks that you've never heard of before. Leave some stuff down in the comments below. I'd love to hear any of your experiences or insights with plants, with repotting, some care, maintenance. That's pretty much it. So thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys on my next video. Bye. Colin, say bye. Bye. Hopefully you heard that. Bye. Mwah.